So hybrid meetings are meetings where half the participants are in a room together and the other half are joining that meeting, but they are in remote spaces. And of course, there are different types of hybrid meetings because you could have just a few people in a room together and the rest are joining via individual spaces. You could have a lot of people in the room together and just one or two people joining the meeting via remote. And so across the continuum, you have different numbers of people in those different spaces, which are physical spaces, but they need to be one auditory and working visual meeting space for the meeting to do the work that it needs to do.
I think some people are there culturally, but they don't really know how to make it happen well. Other people are not even there culturally, and we don't know what their barriers are.
One of them is you have a challenge with any mediation, which is establishing rapport with the parties. Now, I have found that is more difficult and takes more effort if I'm not in the physical space with that person. So I need to adapt my process to allow for that. I'm not saying you can't do it, because you can. I find it takes me more time to do so when I'm not in the physical space with somebody.
So I think the challenge is that people are a bit scared of this, and they're not always doing it right. And when they don't do it right the first time, that can put them off. And so I really think anything that we can do to help people build confidence in this area is going to be really important for the long term.
It is a bit frustrating to me that I can see what's not working well, and there is very limited thinking about how we move this forward and how we tap into this potential.
As with any new technology or approach, Duncan, it can be quite a steep learning curve at the beginning. And it just needs somebody to pay a little bit more attention to what they're going to be doing in advance, and even just laying out some expectations for people at the beginning, and saying, well, this is what it's going to be like. These are the problems that we could encounter if we do X, Y, or Z. The little irritations and protocols that are needed. It's with any chair, I think, of a meeting, or anyone who's facilitating a meeting, will constantly be asking themselves, what does the group need right now? And also making sure that they are aware of and can see all the participants in terms of their body language and their approach and their signals.
Well, I'm consulting, I'm facilitating. So from my perspective, the challenge is that I have to think about the process from all of the things to do with setting up a meeting in person and all of the things to do with setting up a meeting virtually. And then you have to do them both and bring them both together. So it's more complicated. That doesn't mean that the effort isn't worth it. But we shouldn't kid ourselves that it's as easy as one or the other. There are complexities. And some of the challenges are that people aren't always aware of how to do that well, and therefore that puts people off. So I've been in meetings with clients where, I remember one, and there was a big meeting room, 8 of them in the room, and others were remote, and I just simply couldn't see the person at the back of the room. And they're chatting, and you're like looking in the screen thinking, who is that? What are they saying? Couldn't hear them because the technology wasn't very good. So that needed much better thought and consideration.
I think most people haven't really got their heads around it fully. So they're comfortable with doing full digital. And obviously from our past lives, they're used to doing full in-person meetings, but merging the two, they haven't really got either the technical expertise. Sometimes it takes a while to get the sound and the pictures working. So technical challenges. I think there are also just knowing how to make it work well, getting that advice. And I think there are also some cultural issues. I think there are some people who have expectations that every single meeting should be in person, and that's kind of the right way to do it. There are other people that are more open to saying, yes, I accept that it's better to have a hybrid because people have got a long way to travel. It's not very efficient. It's not very carbon efficient.